What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Motorfest. So in this video I will be going over the Biker Lovers playlist and or all of the challenges in it. So I have been going over most of these so far, guys. I have to admit some of them are going to be insanely easy to do, and obviously some of these challenges are not going to be, but I recently did the drift experience. This one was honestly insanely fun, so if you are looking to have an easier playlist to do, I would recommend doing this one. And you can also do the entire thing solo, which obviously for the Biker Lovers you have to be in a crew and or do grand races for some of them. But even then though, guys, at least you can do basically every single challenge solo. That way you don't actually have to be in like a crew. But if you do want the legendary title, of course you may have to do that, which I might have to do that because I do like the bike lover and I'm obviously a bike guy in real life. But nonetheless, guys, getting into these challenges now here. Rider Sightseeing, drive from Kaneohe to Honolulu. So this will have to be done in the Harley Davidson Iron 883, and surprisingly, guys, this bike isn't terrible, but do keep in mind it is indeed like a street tier 1, so it's not going to be the fastest thing out there. And there's also not going to be a time limit on this challenge either, so you can basically take your time going from Kaneohe to Honolulu. But do keep in mind, guys, there's also going to be another challenge you can do at the same time, and I would probably say I really thought this was actually a typo, but yes, you have to drive 30 minutes in free drive with the Harley Davidson, so you will unfortunately be riding this bike for a while whether you are a big fan of it or not. But luckily, guys, all you actually have to do is cruise around. Like, you don't have to race around the map, and all you actually have to do is to be moving on this motorcycle. Now, there is one more challenge though I did want to tie into this one. That is indeed going to be the 5 treasure boxes with the other bike, which is indeed the Honda. Now, I would recommend, guys, doing this one at the same time, and the easiest way to do this one though is to basically have the Honda CB1000R as like your favorite ground vehicle while cruising around. So once you get close to like one of the crates, you can then switch over to this bike and or grab them that way, and then of course go back into your menu and or jump back on the Harley Davidson, which, by the way, if you guys do switch vehicles, it's not going to hurt it. So let's say you cruise around for like 10 minutes and then you have to leave and then come back. That progress is indeed going to be saved, so at least you don't have to do an entire 30-minute drive on the Harley Davidson in one run. That would honestly be terrible, and I do feel like that would probably frustrate many people. But moving over to the next challenge, guys, Rider Stunt. Perform 5 backflips with a motocross bike in free drive. So I would actually say this challenge might be kind of annoying at first glance, but to be honest, guys, going into the map here, the best place to do this without a doubt in my mind is to head over here to the Friday Night Rides. And you guys will notice by the route here, I will also show some footage in the background, but this is by far like the easiest way to do this one. And you can basically go up the mountain here and then of course follow this down. And do keep in mind, by the way, guys, the motocross bikes flip way easier than the rally raid ones do, so I would probably say this is going to be easy. And do keep in mind, by the way, guys, you can also hold down the handbrake button as well to make the bike spin faster. And I was noticing you can actually spin way faster on the motocross bike, so you can probably do this one in like one run, but if not, definitely two for that matter. So this challenge is luckily going to be insanely simple. And now moving over to the next challenge, guys, perform 10 near misses in the event Roadie Rumbles. So this challenge is actually going to be insanely simple. Now, there's a few different ways you can do this, and the first one is to obviously get a near miss on the AI that drive around, which I would probably say is most likely going to be the easiest way. But another way I did found to do this though is you can also get near misses on the actual like AI racers. So if you did want to, you can pretty much make them pass you, and then of course you could drive by insanely close by to them. But we all do know the AI can be insanely sporadic at times, so that might honestly be a challenge in itself. But overall, this challenge was pretty easy, and it should go by pretty fast. And now moving over to the next challenge, drive 31 miles on asphalt in events on a bike. So I would probably say, guys, this challenge is most likely going to happen over time, and the main reason for that is you do have to do a couple of events on a motorcycle, like for example doing a front flip on a bike in like an event, or doing a certain like race with clean driving and all that. So I would probably say, guys, getting the 31 miles might take some time, but it will definitely happen pretty quick and it shouldn't be insanely difficult. And then moving over to the next challenge, finish 5 summit contest activities with a bike. So for this, guy, similar to some of the other playlists, I would recommend doing like a skill, maybe a slalom and or like a speed trap on a bike. And you obviously can use any motorcycle, so like you could use a street tier 2 or even like a racing bike, but It is going to be better that way. The fact that you can run any bike of your choice, but one of the best ways I found to do these though is to definitely use a racing bike, and that's going to come down to the overall speed and or agility of those. But I would probably say, guys, this challenge should be pretty simple. Now moving over to the next challenge, rider acrobatics. So perform 3 front flips in any event on a motocross bike. So for this, guys, I would once again recommend doing the Friday night rides, and that's most likely going to come down to, yes, the beginning of the event is going to have huge mountains you can jump off of, and obviously the motocross bikes do indeed spin insanely quick, so I would probably say basically the first run you can easily get this one done, and or even if you miss the first jump, the second jump is going to be huge. And I did notice, guys, by holding down that handbrake makes these bikes spin much faster. And now moving over to the next challenge, guys, rider flights. Spend 1 minute and 40 seconds in the air in events on a motocross bike. So if you did want to, you could obviously jump back into the Friday night rides, but I did find the motocross event called Beach Bonanza to be insanely good for this challenge, mainly because you can get maybe 15 to 20 seconds at least per run on doing this, so it would only take a couple of tries, and at least that way you guys can obviously get this challenge done over time. But quick tip, by the way, if you guys are wondering where these events are, one of the easiest ways to do this is to actually head over to here and or head over to the bike lovers playlist, and then of course you guys can find the event that way and or like click it, and of course it would actually add like the actual waypoint to it. But do keep in mind, by the way, guys, you don't have to actually finish the event on this either, so if you really did want to, you can basically hit every jump to get this one done as fast as possible. And then moving over to the next challenge, get a perfect clean driving score in the event Hectic Hanuma. I most likely didn't say that right, but you will also have to use the RC16, guys, which by the way is an awesome bike, and I would probably say this challenge is not difficult, but the one thing I did notice though, guys, is this event might take some time to do. I believe it's like 6 or so minutes, so do be expecting to be riding for a bit. But the biggest tips here is to basically watch out for the AI, and if you were struggling with the AI on this one, guys, I would recommend putting the event difficulty on level 1 and or level 2. That way the AI are going to be insanely slow, and I did notice you can actually pass them basically before the second corner, and that way you have less of a chance of actually hitting them. But overall, I would say this challenge isn't going to be insanely difficult compared to some of the others. And now moving over to the next challenge, guys, complete 5 of these slalom feats on a motocross bike. So for this one, if you are lucky enough, you can actually do the 5 slaloms in a summit and also get both of these challenges done at one time. But I would say, guys, this challenge isn't going to be insanely difficult, and I really do think having a maxed out bike is most likely going to help, but it's not necessarily going to be needed. And then moving over to the next challenge is going to be win 3 events from the Motorsports playlist. So for this one, guys, all you will have to do is to jump into any of the events of your liking. Now, some of the events here are going to be like 6 to 8 minutes long, so I would recommend doing something like the Act 4 Alpha Gamble. That event seemed to be insanely easy, being around 3.5 minutes, and of course you are going to be in the Motorsports playlist, so you obviously are going to have the tire grip, but Act 4 is luckily around 3.5 minutes, so this race is going to be quick, and you also do not have to worry about like the tire grip because it's only 3 laps, so it is probably going to be the fastest way to get this challenge completed. And now moving over to the next challenge, reach 217 miles per hour on the Hana Uma racetrack in free drive. So I would probably say this challenge is going to be insanely easy. Now, it may depend on how leveled your bike is, but if you guys are completely maxed out, all you will then have to do is spawn over to the bullseye and then basically head toward the straightaway where like all of the events are. That is probably going to be like the easiest way to do this, and as long as you come around that corner and or basically shift up, you can easily hit well over 217 on that straightaway, so this challenge is luckily going to be insanely simple, at least compared to some of the others. And now moving over to the next challenge, guys, is also going to be an easier one as well. So drive from Honolulu to Wahiwa in free drive, and luckily you have to use the RC16. Now, this is going to be a bit of a drive though, but luckily if the RC is maxed out, this bike hits around like 230 something miles an hour, so you can easily get this done pretty dang quick, especially at those speeds. And now moving over to the next challenge, complete 5 speed trap feet 62.1 miles per hour above the objective. So for this you will obviously have to use the CBR 1000R. Now it really does depend on which speed trap you guys actually want to do, but for me and the one I do show in the background here is basically in the heart of Honolulu, and I would probably say it's by far like one of the easiest ones. So quick example, guys, let's say the speed trap is 120 miles an hour. You will have to do at least 182 in order to beat that, so this one luckily isn't going to be insanely terrible. Now it does most likely come down to like your vehicle's level, but do keep in mind, guys, you can also get a crazy head start to make sure you're getting the 62 miles an hour above the objective. And then moving over to the next challenge, drive from Halewa to Kaneohe. So for this, guys, there is not going to be a time limit and or anything specific on this. So all you will have to do is basically spawn to Halewa and then put a waypoint on Kaneohe and then head all the way to that location. And now moving over to the next challenge, win the event Halewa Heyday in less than 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So for this one, guys, as long as your CBR 1000 is leveled a bit, I would say this challenge is probably going to be pretty simple, and I do believe I got around like 2 minutes and like 50 seconds or something, so it's not going to be insanely difficult. But if you really did want to, you can most likely do the other challenge, which is going to be perform a burn during a race and win it, which also has to be done with the Honda. So if you guys are wondering for this, it is requiring you to do a burnout and or win the event. So I would also recommend having the event difficulty on level 1, that way you can actually catch up to the AI and you won't be struggling as much. But just in case you guys might have been wondering, in order to do a burnout, all you will have to do is to basically hold down the L2 and or R2 button, aka the gas and or brake. Now I would recommend holding it down for a second to at least get the burn and or like the actual animation to get this challenge completed. Now moving over to the last two challenges, guys, drive from Wahiwa to Halewa. So for this, it is going to be insanely similar to the other challenge that require you to drive from Halewa to Kaneohe and or like the one for Honolulu. So all you will have to do for this is to basically spawn to Wahiwa, and then you guys will have to put a waypoint on Halewa and then head all the way to that location. Now there isn't going to be a time limit on this, so you can literally take a rider stroll all the way there. Do keep in mind the other challenge, by the way, is perform 50 near misses at 155 miles an hour. So one of the best ways to do this challenge is to most likely be on a highway. I would probably say the highway by Honolulu is the best way, but if you guys can maintain above that miles per hour, you can also get some of the near misses done while doing the other challenge. Now that will basically do it for all of the challenges you can do solo. Now, if you guys are looking to do the Rider Club, all you will have to do is to visit the observatory in an all-bike crew in free drive. So I would recommend you most likely have to have 3 other people in your crew to do this. So that may end up being a challenge in itself. But the other one is going to be drive 12.4 miles with a bike in a crew formation in free drive. So you obviously have to have a crew for this one as well. But luckily these challenges aren't insanely difficult, and at least the challenges for the most part are going to be simple. Then finally, perform 50 overtakes without collision in a grand race while using the Honda CBR. So again, guys, all you will have to do is to basically jump into a grand race and or a multiple for that matter to get 50, and obviously jump into a crew to get the other ones done. But overall though, guys, I really did find the playlist challenges in this one to be fun, and you will most likely get most of the challenges done pretty dang fast, guys. I would say maybe like 2.5 to 3 hours. You will basically have all of the challenges in this one done. But if you guys have any questions at all, let me know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more insight.